Welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and I've been on the quest for the perfect lighting system on this 210-gallon reef tank. So I've been slowly making additions. I started with 3 Kessil A360Xs on this tank and had those combined with 4 tubes of T5. And it worked great. I had a lot of fill, I had a lot of par, but I still had some dark spots. So I added 2 Kessil A160s to the tank, and I mounted them using the mounting arms. The mounting arms are the flexible ones, and they're great. I used it on my 24-gallon Nano for quite a while, and it worked brilliantly. But inside of a hood, they're not so great. There just wasn't the flexibility to let me point the light where I wanted it. So I got a hold of Scott Leif with aquariumledmounts.com, and I bought with my own money, this is unsponsored, 2 of his LED mounts, which are designed for the Kessil A360s or A360Xs. They are not designed for the 160s. I couldn't find any that were specifically designed for the 160s, but after a few messages back and forth with Scott, he pointed me in the right direction on how to make the modification. There were a couple ways I could do it. I could either drill out the current mounts to accept the bigger bolt and add the bigger bolts, or I could try and find or make or buy an adapter. I decided to drill it out and make it work. But it was really cool because before I ever bought the mounts, I knew what I was gonna have to do to mod them for the Kessil A160s. These are the LED mounts that I bought from ledmounts.com. They're designed for the Kessil A360s and 360Xs, but they can be modified for my A160s, which is the plan. So I actually talked to Scott before purchasing these. These are Scott Leif of LA Fish Guys fame. He's got his own YouTube channel. Pretty cool guy, but they can be modified for the smaller light. So that's what we're gonna start with. These are for my 160s. The Kessil A160s use a 3/8 mount. The Kessil 360Xs use a 10/32 mount. So this is what came with the ball mount, and you can see this will never fit in that hole. So I've gone and bought some 3/8 by 1 inch stainless screws. I spent the extra on stainless, it wasn't much money, and that way they'll never rust. So now I've got to modify the ball adapter, which is this bad boy right here, to accept that bolt. The first bolt I modded was too short. You can see it doesn't go all the way through. So I went and bought the same thing, but this time it is 1 1/4 inch. So it'll give me the 1/4 inch sticking out, which should be more than adequate to screw into there. All right, here is the modified bolt. You can see I got my end sticking out. This end's inset, so it should work perfect. And when we screw it in, oh, look at that. Tighten it down. Perfection. When it comes to assembling this, it's super simple. These push together. This goes on here, just 2 washers, a little handle spins on, and then the ball mount just splits in like that. Now this is the modified one, but you can kind of see the articulation. That's what we're here for. I can aim the Kessil anywhere I want. This black hole right here is a huge area that's shaded. I've been trying to put coral there forever because it's my biggest piece of real estate that's basically unoccupied. To fill this, I added a spotlight. And here's what that light looks like. So it's an A160, so it's a small light. It's not taking up much space. I'm not blocking really any light from the fluorescents right here. And then if I want to adjust it, it's a quick turn of the knob, and I've got basically full 360-degree rotation. This is a really awesome setup. So it's small, it's compact, it's relatively cool. It was cheap, and I'm getting light where I want it. And I couldn't have done it easily without this mount. And now with this swivel mount, I can put the light exactly where I want it. I even have the ability in the future where I could mount it to the inside of the cabinet door. I mean, there's no reason it has to be mounted to the top. I could mount lights to the door. So I've got a lot of options going forward as to how I want to mount my lights. And here it is. The spotlight is a Kessil A160, and all of that blue light is the new light that I can get in there. Now that the Kessil A160s are on this tank and used as spotlights, I'm blown away with how cool they are. They're a small, compact form factor, and I can throw a lot of light at it. The hammers are really lit up much better than they were, and I'm really impressed by the amount of spread I have there. I do not have a par meter. I know you guys are all asking me to buy one, but honestly, I'm not gonna blow money on a par meter. For the price of a par meter, I could buy more lights. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, this is much better than it was. I'm putting the light where I need it. And then my black hole is now a blue hole. Now a blue hole is awesome because I can throw coral in there. It's not ideal color-wise because it's not matching my Kessil A360s X's, but that's okay. The reason it doesn't match is because I used the UV or the near violet settings and the red settings. And these lights, the A160s, they just don't have those colors in them, so I'll never be able to match it perfectly. But for what I'm trying to accomplish and for what I got into this thing, it's amazing. The Kessils, the A160s I just put on here are old lights that I've had for years. I purchased them when Poseidon's went out of business. So for 35 bucks a piece for the articulating mounts, I'm blown away with how big of a difference it made for me when it goes to actually putting the light where I need it. I mean, if you can't put the light where you need it, it's not really useful. Now I can aim a light right where I want it. And now that I have this set up, it gives me all kinds of ideas. Like where my bracing is. Well, maybe some spotlights would be perfect for lighting that up. No good light from the top is gonna go around that bracing, but spotlights on the side might be perfect. Now, if I was wealthy, I would replace all of the A160s with the 360Xs. They're just a better light all the way around. They're brighter, they have a wider spread, and if you want the narrow spread, I've got the adapters for those. I could really see a world where I put quite a few A360Xs on this tank and point and shoot the light exactly where I want it. That really would be the ultimate goal. But right now, just adding these two lights, I feel like has made a big difference. My corals lit up exactly the way I wanted it. I could not get the light aimed there with the goosenecks, and this blue hole, the gooseneck wouldn't reach. Now I've got the light right where it was. It looks super clean with that mount on there. So I'm getting the light where I want it. And that's really been my biggest struggle. I've got tons of par. I've got tons of coverage in a straight down fashion. Now I've just got to take care of the overhangs and the holes and all that kind of stuff to get the ultimate lighting system. This really is overkill and completely unnecessary. And the other thing we haven't talked about are the two metal halides I put on here. They are adding a lot of par, they're adding a lot of spread, and they're complete overkill. They're also adding a lot of heat. In fact, they're really not necessary. I put them up there because I am insane. It's just crazy. Tons of heat, tons of expense. I've got to buy new bulbs for them. They're really not worth it. There's no controllability. But there's just this gearhead part of me that says, yes, they're cool. And so far, the Stonies on top seem to absolutely love what they're adding. But honestly, if I had to choose between those two metal halides or the two spotlights with the articulating mounts, I would take the spotlights with the articulating mounts any day. The gain I'm getting from those is so much better than the halides. But hey, the halides were free to me. They were a light I had laying in the basement, so they're on the tank. So these days, my ultimate lighting system is 3 Kessil A360Xs, 2 A160s on articulating mounts, 4 tubes of LEDs, and 2 metal halides. It's a really badass lighting system, and I want more lights. I want more Kessils that I can use as spotlights. It has nothing to do with adding par. It's all about filling in shadows, stuff that the fluorescent tubes can't hit. It's really about putting the light where I want it. So for me, these articulating mounts with a spotlight style light like those A160s or the A360s can be is a game changer. So for me, the ultimate lighting system is coming together, and that's how it's starting to look. So what do you guys think? Are the spotlights as cool as I think and feel like they are? And my blue hole, what should I put there? I've got a lot of leathers there, so it's gotta be a leather. But we could do like a nice little chili coral there, something like that. We could do a lobophytum, which I have here, which would love the light. We could take this big toadstool and throw it in there, try it again. This bad boy's been tricky. He loves where he's at today. But if I would take him, it would open up a huge area that I could then add more coral to. So those are the dilemmas I have. And you guys know me, I don't do anything fast. I threw the halides on the tank, I've thrown these on the tank, and basically I'm not doing anything for a while. Once I feel like the tank's settled in, once I feel like things are happy, once I find the right coral, then I'll make the changes. So, thanks for watching this episode of Mile High Reefers. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.